Hello and welcome to another amazing panel discussion of Yuna.ai. I'm Anna, CEO and founder. And what is Yuna.ai? Yuna.ai is a design platform where we shorten your design process to only some simple clicks. That means we take your design data, trend data, or your sales data, and we use artificial intelligence to creating your designs on only some clicks. That is not only efficient, that's also sustainable, because you're working closer to the trends and closer to your customers. Now, I want to welcome our speakers to our panel discussion. First of all, I want to welcome Oliver Lange. Oliver Lange, when I met him, he said, I'm a very creative person. I like to rethink things. He is head of H&Mbeyond, and H&Mbeyond is the innovation lab of H&M, of course. Welcome, Oliver Lange.
Hi, thanks. Hello.
Next person I want to welcome is Claudia Hoffman. Claudia Hoffman is board member of German Fashion Council. German Fashion Council is working with all German fashion designers and talking about their interests. Next to that, she was working in Vanity Fair, she was working in Harper's Bazaar, and she works, very important for our theme today, as a trend scout. Welcome, Claudia. And as it is a hybrid event, we welcome Christian Lott. He's sitting in the south of Germany. He is very well known as the innovative consultant for Adidas, and he built the famous Speed Factory in our bikini house in Berlin. Today, he's working as an innovative consultant for materials at Sutora. Welcome, Christian. Last but not least, my friend Xenia from Hamburg, she started her career as IT developer. She studied IT, and since 10 years, she is leading as the CEO of Apart Fashion in Hamburg. Welcome, Xenia. So, I'm not the only person who is leading and moderating this panel discussion. I invited Oliver to do it with me, and I would like to ask you something. I talk a lot with Oliver about future and how we create future and what is the best future for the fashion industry. And also, the inspiration for this panel discussion is a book that is called 2030, How Much Human Can Future Take? And the first question in this book is, are you afraid of the future, Oliver?
Well, not at all, to be honest. Being a father of 2 kids, I mean, what would that signal be, to be afraid of the future? I mean, for the fashion industry, I'm just like curious and excited because I know there's so many technologies, fantastic entrepreneurs who have like interesting ideas on how to like positively influence our industry. And I think that we have learned a lot like from the past years on what we do, what works and what doesn't work, and I believe in a fashion retail industry that is just like perfectly in line with sustainability goals that we all should reach as a society. So I'm just curious for the future. That would be my answer. I'm not sure how you see it, Franzi.
Well, yes, I'm not afraid of the future, because if I would be afraid, I wouldn't do what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm actually also excited to be part of the future and to create a future. And change the future like we have to change the future in a sustainable way and efficiency. And we all know that this fashion industry has to change. So I'm very excited to be part of that.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, my first question goes to Claudia. And of course, we talk about your trend scouting. And what do you think about the future of fashion?
So, Sue, first of all, thank you for having me today. It's really a so important and, extremely relevant theme to talk about. And future is always like nearer than we are thinking. So, through my experience for many years in fashion, as fashion stylist, as you said, trend scout, but also fashion consultant, and focused on editorials and campaigns and doing content for publisher houses, but also big brands. I would say the future already changed for fashion, but we have to change it the way more. So I truly believe in physical fashion, the beauty of physical fashion, and the excitement of physical fashion. But I think for at the moment, we have a huge problem, and this is overconsumption. So I think virtual fashion can help to find a solution in a sustainable way to change that. But I think we have to act now, and we have to ask the right questions, how we can do that.
Yeah, thank you. That is directly leading me to Christian, because he's working also on this virtual fashion side, on innovative side. Christian, what is your advice for the future or for the whole industry?
Well, my advice is that the industry definitely has to change, to transform itself from a supply to a demand-driven way. So as today, there are too many garments, too many products, too many wrong products pushed too fast into the market. So, if you look at current statistics, more than 45% of the total global volume of garments is waste generated in any stage or every stage of the textile chain. So this transformation needs to be as fast and as radical as possible from this waste system or waste-based system to a new system which is definitely sustainable, built on more demand-oriented products. And so the time is it is necessary for this fundamental shift.
So you're saying the same like Claudia, that we are suffering from overproduction and overconsumption, right?
Certainly, absolutely.
Yeah. And I can relate to that, what you said, Christian, and also Claudia, right? And it's great to hear that we are not questioning the value of fashion itself, right? Because fashion is just beautiful and exciting and allows us to be who we are. But it's the way how we produce and how we do things that we should positively change for the better. Xenia, I mean, when you look at your label, right, that you're heading, do you feel an urgency to change the way you work? And if so, how do you anticipate maybe your next 5 years regarding what Claudia and Christian just said?
Yes, of course. So I would say I can consolidate everything what you say. I think there are 3 parts or 3 directions what we can do as an industry. It's the first point is the product. So we need a sustainable product that you can wear longer and longer, not to throw it out after a season. Or of course there are some trends, but still there are some basics that we need to make sustainable. And also the young generation, they are growing very sustainable. So they try to reuse all the clothes. They try to change up between themselves the clothes. So this is a very, very good point with the young generation. Maybe we are not like that. We were like beautiful clothes, but the young generation, they had quite a different mind. The second point is that our internal processes in the company that we can make more effective, more sustainable, also thanks for Yuna, for example, like making faster, making more directly, and optimize our processes by sending samples or whatever it is. And the third point is that we have to consolidate the demand, what Christian also said. So what is it? What do our customer need? So we need to identify it and we need to fulfill them. We don't need too much to push them to buy something. We need to try to understand and to fulfill these needs.
Yeah. Great. So it seems like there's not a single task to fulfill, right? It's also including the customer, right, who's wearing the fashion. And I like that you are bringing this as a first point of how do we get like the customers on that journey, right? Because it's like part of what can change. And we know, for example, that there is an attitudes and behavior gap that is existing, right? If you talk to people how they experience consumption of fashion, then they have high attitudes in how to do it, how sustainable it should be. But when it comes to the behavior, you can clearly see that this is like lacking a bit behind. So my assumption would be that it's definitely a task or a nice task, I would say, to take the customers on that journey and educate and make other offers basically than just only buying stuff, right? So you're right. I guess that's a very valid point. Also, when you know that every piece that is bought, and this goes in the direction of Christian, right? Every piece that is bought is in average is only worn 7 times. So imagine each piece in your wardrobe is worn 7 times. I mean, is that good enough? Do we feel this is good enough? Maybe not. But Franzi, just one question in your direction. Everything we discussed, I feel that we have heard that quite some time ago. The discussion is like up for at least some years, I guess. Christian, I also think you are aware that this whole discussion on the fashion industry is longer than just 2 weeks, right? So why, Franzi, what's your thought? Why did the retail industry did not succeed in like being future fit or leading the way as one of the main industries on the world?
Well, I would not say that the fashion industry was never successful. I mean, have a look to Chanel. That was successful, right? So, but I think in the 80s we started to have a kind of a change, and we didn't go this way. So we slowly start now changing our industry, right? Have a look to the automotive industry or other industry. They are much further than the fashion industry is, and that's what I think. That's the point. We should get out of this 80s and come to the future and change it like the future should be, like we talked about. I agree with everything what you said before.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you know that the fashion industry is like the second biggest industry when it comes to carbon emissions, right? I mean, that's always surprising for me, or for the first time that was surprising for me. But hearing numbers from Christian that around about 45%, so to say, are like above the demand that is really there in society for fashion. It's not a very smart thought to see that we are having heavily impact, right? Yeah,
I think we are the biggest polluter, the industry with the most pollution on Earth, in our world, right? So we have to change that. That's clear.
Yeah, and I mean, if I would have a look at what technologies might be the ones that will be implemented soon, maybe to explain again, I'm working for H&M, like one of the biggest global fashion retailers in the world. I feel that we are definitely on a mission, and we should, right? There should be an urgency, and we should feel like activated to change because of the impact of like big companies like H&M. So that's so to say like the mindset we should have, right? With the biggest impact, you should have also the biggest speed and the biggest, maybe the biggest innovation drive to change things. So I think that what we will see in the next years even more is on the level of circular design, right? The question of how do we design garments so that we can create that perfect cycle of reusing materials, that we don't talk about waste no more. Like Christian truly stated that 45% might be waste. I mean, that's a resource. And I think the biggest thing that needs to happen is that big retailers can use all the material that is collected back, that they can use it for new products, basically. So I think that's the first level that we should all reach, where a lot of innovation happens. And apart from that, I totally agree with all the other aspects we have talked about, right? Demand-driven supply, so not produce too much, get to know your customers way better, use data and technology to understand more, to predict even better, and then produce what is really needed, and support the customers making conscious shopping choices. That's also a point, right? Help the customer to understand, does she really need that black dress or maybe not, right? So that's something I see clearly within the next next 5 to 10 years. That will happen soon, apart from the technologies that will help to create like a better efficient production process like Yuna, for example, right? So, yeah, Claudia, a little bit like a fun question, but I think you have a very good answer, very valid answer on that. Sometimes we look at technology as like black and white, right? So technology comes and then all the human aspects, they are over. Knowing that you are just a fantastic trans scout, will you be obsolete? Will you be replaced in the future? Will it be like that? Will we have Claudia as a scout also in 10 years?
So maybe you have Claudia as an avatar. No, so it's. I think it's. I think all what we have now, and also me as a trans scout, putting like all these trends and seeing all this relevation of fashion and put it together for brands of media houses and also to create content. This will be also the same in virtual fashion. So I think. Baseline is content and individualism, and I think it's just a different way. So of course, there are different kinds of trends also in virtual fashion, and maybe of course in the future also a virtual media house with virtual designs. So, and also we see that with Dress X already. So it's not so far away from the old world, but transformed in a new world. It's all about experience and also our the way we worked before and transform it, translate it into a new world. So, of course, there will be fashion stylist needed and fashion consultant on a different base, in a different world. But of course, we will be there, and so we live in a bubble in a way. So we are really educated in what we are doing, and Franzi, you started it already. So a lot of great, innovative, young designers, creative people started to change the world. And also for me, it's super important, just to come back, also what you say before, education for me, it's so important. So let's start like with little kids. I grew up, it's like, my parents always said like, don't lose your doll. So is it my doll in the future, or is it, if we speak about circularity and all these vintage and charity stores as well, so that it's, we have like to own something, or that you treat it well for someone else. I think education, it's the beginning of all the change.
Mm-hmm. Nice, very great words. It feels like fun and it feels human when you talk about it. And I like that in the break before we met today, you said you talked about empathy, right? And I mean, it's a personal belief that technology will fantastically coexist with human, like human stuff, like empathy, right? That can't be copied, I would say. Franzi, do you know what Christian's focus is on Renew the Industry? You have an idea?
I know what he's focusing on, but we can ask him.
Great. So, Christian, what are the solutions to design a more sustainable industry? Can you give some examples that would help us to understand a little bit more how this will happen, this important transformation, basically?
Well, there are actually two main areas. One is definitely the technology area. So systems of IoT-based machines with Industry 4.0 in German. So this is definitely one big game changer. So right now, if you look around of machines available in the market, they are optimized and designed for lot size 1, single piece production. So definitely this technology will be one of the driving forces for changes. As an example, machines which knit a sweater in 1 hour or produce a custom-made jeans in an hour or pair of sneakers in 1 hour or less. this is standard. So this technology is available. It's not science fiction anymore. This is the new standard. This means that it is economically possible to produce a custom-made pair of jeans in Berlin at similar costs or even the same costs as in Beijing. Possible. Yeah. So this is one area, and the second I do see regarding sustainable future is a transformation from a crude oil-based industry to bio-based. What does it mean? If you look at the market, global markets around there are 170 million tons of yarns or material made from crude oil. And this volume is growing each year. And this is one of the big polluting elements. And the entire value chain needs to transform or to shift from crude oil to bio-based. And to me, the most advanced technology here is algae technology. So maybe we come to this topic later, but it allows to produce polymers for fabrics made from algae and not from crude oil anymore.
Cool stuff, Christian. Thank you for sharing. It reminds me of like all the different material initiatives that are out there, like using food waste, for example, to making like bioplastic, for example, that has the same functionalities for sportswear that we might know from the past from polyester, but that are like recyclable. I mean, that's just crazy, right? It sounds like the future, but listening to you, Christian, it sounds like it's already there, and it's just a question of how can you scale and how can you implement, right? But it's good to know.
There is no other chance. So recently, a few weeks ago, the climate report was published. Yeah, so the clock is ticking on a global scale, and so it has to be. You said you're a father of 2 kids, so am I. So it's our generation for this change, and there's no excuse anymore. So CO2 has to be reduced significantly, and this means that new technology has to be adopted. There's no other alternative.
Right. Yeah, I agree on that. Knowing that there's a material from the Hong Kong Rita Institute, I'm sure some of you might know, that's a material that actively absorbs carbon out of the atmosphere. So imagine we as a society, every one of like millions of people would wear garments out of this material that is absorbing carbon from the surrounding. I mean, how cool is that, right? There's another aspect that is important to address or to talk about, and this is going in your direction, Franzi. So the notion of data, right? Data. You hear that everywhere, and I think there's like cultural and also societal differences on how data is used, on how it's leveraged, and I guess in Germany we have a quite strict data policy, but in the end, I mean, there's also a big potential, right? So Franzi, how would you say what kind of data is useful, and how does this data help to design for customer groups? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I mean, we can talk about that together, Xenia and me. I start, and then maybe you keep going. I would say, first of all, I was working as a designer. All the image material is important, right? Because out of that you can design new designs. That can be technical drawings, all the graphic data like prints, photos, everything what you have, color concepts. That's a very important thing. And I didn't see that before as data. I was just thinking it's my designs, but it's also data. And also important is all this sales data, sales through data, also known as that, because you only can design what you sell. Why shouldn't you design something what you're not selling? I learned also when I learned to be a fashion designer, I design out of myself. So no, sales through data is very important. And the third thing is trend data. And trend data is also very important because we have to design for the future. People not buying now also, but we design also for the future. And that are the 3 parts of data. I think it's important. What are you saying?
Same. I agree. But maybe one thing it's not because of the data, but one important thing I would like to say, just As a company, you need support. You can say, "Oh, I want to be sustainable. I try to do here and there," but still, also after Corona, we have all our problems. Big company, small company, middle company, and honestly speaking, it's not my problem. Sustainability. I try now to generate cash what I lost, and I do everything actually in the whole time in the fashion industry. So I'm always concentrating on profitability. So where's the place for sustainability? So some of them try, okay, I'm here participating now, talking about that, but if you ask me, what am I doing for that? So I would ask the governments, the educational measurements for the companies to invest more and support more entrepreneurs and also the companies. So generate directly educational measurements. So go to the company, build up the company, take the processes, because it's not like H&M can do it by themselves, then the world is fine, everybody else can do whatever they want. No, I think it's very important to support such people that are at least talking about them. So I think we need more and more support, more cash from people who have cash, and go and show me how to enter this sustainable process. Because we are professional in fashion, but we are sometimes not professional in our IT processes and general sourcing processes. So this is quite important, I think. Yeah. And of course, the data. We have a lot of data through e-commerce, through international countries where we're selling. Our part is also very strong in e-commerce. So to analyze it, and we're producing always the same. So at least I give some data for analyzing. We already can create through Yuna the next trends. Sorry to say that, but it's true. Because people buy same. So they just want a little bit change, a little bit something less, but this is mass. So we have fashionable people that wear every day something else, but not all of us. So the most wearing always the same. So it's quite important.
Yeah, it's. I think it's just to.
Yes, please.
It's good. To say yes. It's. I also think so that we have to produce, of course, less. And for me, also, what Christian will say is like it's on demand. And then you exactly know what people want. And this is also like to give the responsibility back to the customer. So you can show them through digital fashion, in my idea, in my future vision, something online. And people can decide whether they want it or not. And I think this is the way people can say like, oh, I need all my basic stuff because I can express myself in social media through 3D fashion. This could be fancy and really exciting and flamboyant. But also what you said, I think it's not only data, and because behind it's a creative idea. And without a creative idea, coming back to empathy, we are humans, we need that. And I also study fashion design, so I really believe in creative ideas. And data, what should data do if we are not first have creative ideas, and then data comes second to say, okay, this is good, this is not good, or we use that because this is something wrong or not. So for me, creative ideas, it's first, and then comes data. And then it brings me to another point you also said. So you're both coming from a huge, really global companies. For me, is it only like, as you said, money on one hand side to change something? You need money from government, but also like what else you need? Like, do you need maybe another mindset in the company, like young kids or young people, like Franziska coming out of school, like all these new startups, to realize this world, to know this world. But for me, sometimes is like in this old fashion system, a lot of like, of course, experienced people sitting there. But if it comes to future, do they really know what it is and how to implement it to a company? So beside fashion, money from the government, what do you can let us know? What do you need? Can a big company change?
You're right. So fashion is a very creative part. So we select trends and we put the trends on the online. But still, for example, from our numbers, we see that the trends coming later. So we can a little bit predict the demand. So this is what's important, for example, for our market. There are different markets, different companies, and Chanel sets trends. But still, we can see a little bit the demand. And so this is what we already can do to predict it and to analyze the data. So this is only what I mean. I think I don't want my creative designers kill me after I return back to Hamburg. But I didn't say I only need money. No, I need support. So as a general manager, I'm responsible for all the processes in the company. And it would be great. I don't know everything. I know how IT systems function. I know how to more effective. But I would appreciate if somebody come to me that's professional, know how it could work better. And just tell me, look at this, you have these processes, you could build up a 3D systems in your company, you can connect your supplier. That could help me to teach my supplier in my production. By just saying, don't look at the market, don't choose a system. There is one, and it's a good one for start, for basic, and to go with me just through all the processes, because we all have the same processes. So if there would be a team of people that go to middle companies, we're not a big company, we're a middle company, goes there and teach the people. So this is just about teaching, because if I say we have to be sustainable, all my staff will go after me. But I need to tell them, listen to those people, they know what they do, they are successful, please let you teach. And the next point about the mindset, these are young generation. I'm not a young generation anymore. So when I go basketball, and I play basketball with 70 years old girls. And after they know that I'm a managing director of a part, they say, oh my God. I say, what do you do? What do you think about fashion? All of them tell me, oh, we are searching for secondhand. We try to be responsible for recycling, for everything. What do you do? I say, oh, let me think. I tell you tomorrow. No. So that's the point. So the young generation is ready. So of course, to participate, to take them into the company is very important, just for the mindset, just for the new air, fresh air. But still, I think we need professionals, not only money. Of course, money is important, but also, let's say, educational support, educational professionals. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good points. I hear a little bit of co-creation, and I like when you talk about education. Sometimes I feel that also the big ones need education, right? So it's we are all in this together, and great that you talked about the 70-year-old basketball players, right? They didn't know that you are CEO. I mean, what would you ask a Gen Z? What they would do being CEO, right? What would their decisions be? If we now look a little bit on this technology developments or like this cultural shifts that we have, and I think what you can clearly see that the younger generations, they have a different demand, right? So they are for the first time really questioning their habits. They are questioning consumption, very, very dramatic. And we also know from like incomes that the income will go down at a certain point. So there will be this competitiveness of how do I spend my money, right? Do I spend it for fashion I think I need, but maybe not quite sure if I need that, right? So I guess this shouldn't be a threat. This should be like a potential, right? And what we can see, or what I like to deal with is looking at this whole fashion as a service aspect that you mentioned, right? Is fashion to be owned? Is it so that you buy something and then you own it and then it's in your wardrobe? Or is there something else? And we have heard some examples now that rental comes up, secondhand comes up, right? Having a way longer lifetime of a garment because it has a better quality, and it exactly suits my needs. That's also something. So I guess there's a big potential when you look at the consumer consumers, right? How do you support that they still can have the value of fashion, they can express themselves, feel good, but we should also extend it with do good. So shopping a piece of you should mean this is a very good choice and this is a sustainable decision in itself. So this is something where the end consumer plays a role in as well. And I'd also like to go back to what Christian said about like the single piece individual on-demand production, right? Good to hear that it's scalable and that you could even do it in Berlin, because that's also something we see in the market. How can we reflect the needs of everyone? How can we be truly individual, right? In a time where we talk a lot about inclusion and diversity. But what does that mean, right? Can brands be so inclusive in their offerings? And the first step that we are right now, like just exploring with external partners, is can we produce single piece? Can we produce the right size? Can we produce individual size? So can we reflect the body measurements of one single person? And can this be scaled? And knowing Christian, like sitting here as well, sounds like it can be scaled. And we know from the consumers, we're doing these like retail tests and we get feedback. We know that from the value that this product has, that's really highly rated from customers, right? They perceive it as way more sustainable if it's made especially for them. They perceive it as highly qualitative because they then can decide on the materials. And even since they can create their own design, having a pocket or not, right? They feel way more, let's say, like near to that product. So it really feels like a product for me, myself. And this dedication just feels like a good idea to explore even more. And the way, and here we totally agree, how I think it should happen. No one can do it on his own, right? The big, the small, this doesn't work out. So this is a system from the past. It's even not the question who's wrong and who's right. That's also obsolete. That's not the topic. I think it's way more like the combination and the get together and the co-creation, right? Because big ones need something. They need to renew, refresh. They need to know how they can change their way of production. And like smaller ones, entrepreneurs that are just having their business up and running, a fantastic technology. What do they want to do, right? They want to pilot. They want to test. They want to go to market. They want to get real customer feedback. And imagine in the perfect scenario, Franzi, you say yes, right? In a perfect scenario, that's just a fountain of creativity if you can make sure that this might happen. So it's all together and having the right mindset, as you say, Claudia, right? Do we see the same thing in the future? Very, very, very valid. Claudia. Coming to your role in the Fashion Council a bit, right? So leaving a bit the style the style advice, the style expertise. How is the Fashion Council changing? What's the urgency? Why should it change? And how do you support? We had support today. How do you support like smaller brands in getting future fit? I mean, what's your view on that from the Fashion Council's perspective?
So we, since we founded us 2015, we see now how also like brands are changing. And when we started, we also started with the fellowship program with H&M, really successful. So we also need partners for the council, and working together with, as you said, emerging brands, but also established brands, with big companies. We see a lot of change, and what is super important also what we are doing in the council to bring the fashion scene together. So there is not only like the designers, it's also like the craftsmanship, the production company. So it's different kind of fields they have to co-creation, co-design together, to come together to change the fashion industry. And we are doing that through initiating programs, supporting programs for young designers, and also to help them through workshops and to highlight them in Germany, but also what's also important, international. So we are really believe in our network and community So also through the other councils, the British Fashion Council, CFDA, Camera della Moda, Chambre syndicale. So we are all European. And yeah, we have to do it together and to see how we can change and what we need for that. So it's also like for young designers, they have to earn money. They have to produce clothes. And also through our initiative with the Berliner Senat, we initiate a program called Digital Future Fashion Readiness.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a long word, it's difficult. But here, emerging designers and young designers who are willing to get into a transformation, they get the support from, for example, also Franziska with Yuna, for experienced companies to change also the business, also close 3D. So for me, like the point for our people who are with us in the council, just to exchange their experience and also to transform it and go to another world. It's super important and to be there. And also like designers who don't do 3D fashion, they can cooperate with 3D designers. But also for me, 3D designers have to have the skills of what garment they will draw. And know something about design or like stitching or do patterns. I think it's also very important. So yeah, that's what we are doing, and we really go there in a really glorious future, I would say, because to have all this network and also like partners, really fantastic partners, working, as you also said, we need this togetherness. And I'm also responsible for education. I work a lot with young and emerging designers from fashion schools together, and also seeing there that fashion education is changing and ready for the future then, for the industry. It's really good to see.
I have also to say, when I was in Frankfurt with you, and we've been all together at the Fashion Council, and everybody, everybody who was invited, it felt like a new movement. Like we are going together to this new future. It was really cool, I have to say, and it felt that the Fashion Council is moving forward and helping and building something.
We only can do it together.
Yes,
it's really like we need this strength from everyone and the experience from everyone.
Right. Yeah. Just getting Christian back, like in the discussion. Hey, Christian. So, I mean, we have heard a lot now, and the Fashion Council is doing fantastic things. We got a clear statement from Xenia on what would support the transformation or would support like companies and fashion brands, right? How was Corona like? Was Corona a threat here in speeding up this adaptation of the companies? How do you see it within 5 years? I mean, will we be even more speedy now, having the experience of the last 2 years, or what do you expect? How will the retail industry change according speed? What do you see the next 5 years?
Well, this is an interesting question. So definitely there will be a significant change to retail industry. The Corona showed that the business model as is has come to its end. It doesn't work anymore to produce in volume and push products into the market. And the defects were visible already. But Corona this pushed more speed on it. So if you look at any German city center, you will see that more and more retail businesses go out. So there's a growing number of stores left empty because the business model doesn't work anymore. So this is a clear indicator that things have to be changed, and speed is definitely one of the key elements. And this is the reason why I coined speed factory, as that's the term for this research project. Speed is the essence. And if you look at technology, this is the driving force to get more speed into the sale, into the design, the manufacturing and sale of a product. So if you look at what is possible today is to have an in-store production. Yeah, for example, a sweater knitted in 1 or 1.5 hours, custom made, single piece at the same price as a brand product. So why should consumers then select a product off the rack as million other products? So, and there will be a new dimension of competition, which will be speed, which will be customization, and definitely sustainability on the third level. But this will open up new possibilities for retailers and brands and service providers of this new value or value positioning.
Yeah,
Great.
I have also experience. Did you know that to create a jacquard pattern you need until 3 days, and in total costs like 60,000 euros? So it's also possible to shorten that down and directly go to the weaving machine. So then we also shorten that. That's the same like you said right now, Christian.
So how many cents? 60,000 euro for a new jacquard?
Yeah, we just started a collaboration with a company, and they told us about the process.
Yeah, this is 20th century process. If you look at 21st technology, take it's 60 or 80 or 100 euro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christian, may I? I mean, the future sounds bright hearing you speaking. Single piece, custom made sweatshirt for the standard size retail price, and you can have it in 1 hour. I mean, let's be bloody honest here. When can we expect especially that technology in Berlin, and what needs to happen to have it in Berlin in a store, let's say in a half year?
I tell you when this will happen. This will happen on the 1st of December 2016.
Yeah, but let's talk about scale here, Christian. I know we had this already, but why are I mean not to be too like naive when I hear you speaking, right? But because when you speak, it sounds like, and today in the afternoon I can go somewhere and I can shop a sweater like that. But is it possible here in Berlin? Can we have it somewhere, or if not, why not?
Okay, before we go to this question, there's another important date. This was the 26th of October 1999. This is when the first made-to-measure jacket was made from a body scan in Stuttgart. So this is a technology available for decades.
20 years.
Going back to your question, why is it not here today? This is interesting. Yeah? So 10 years there were networks of body scanners in the market and retailers selling this. The reason why is it was not the time to do so, because volume, mass production was simply, this business model was so prevailing, so successful, so cash generating, no one took care about it. And right now it is possible, and no one is doing it right now, not yet in Berlin, but things will change. So definitely next year will these machines be in Berlin.
Exciting. Great. Yeah, I'm happy to hear, because obviously it is like you say, right? The technologies, I sometimes have the feeling that the technologies, they are already there. You have it, right? It works.
Yes. But
it's just like then the collaboration between the ones who have like the big customer audience, right, and have like the stores or whatever, the credibility, but the production is not out there in the streets. It's not out in the stores, right? This kind of production. So I'm happy to hear that this will happen, and that the urgency in the industry might even be function like a fuel here, right? That retailers need to change and need to adapt these technologies, right? So, I mean, talking about all of that, it just feels like technology, if it's used correct, can be sustainable, right? Is there any contradiction, Franzi? Technology and sustainability, is there contradiction or?
Oh, yes, we think so. Of course, if you can protect better by data and technology what consumers are buying, that's first of all, it's sustainable because you're only designing and creating and producing what will be bought. So that means less overstock. Also, if you have a look to the whole process of designers, if we using technology for the whole process, we don't have prototyping. Yeah, I'm talking to my friend of Puma. He's always sitting there with thousands of prototyping, and I'm saying, "Do you need this? Do you need this? Are you selling that?" No, actually, do you want one? So, so we have thousands of prototyping all the time. We can shorten that down with, or cut this down with 3D design or even technologies we are trying to develop. Also, yeah, if you are closer to the trend, you research trends, and then you can produce faster, and you can also research on doing on Instagram and everything what you can research now, and you can produce and design based on this trend data. You are also selling better, and it's sustainable also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that fast fashion gets a new definition, right? I'm not sure if you can recognize that, but it is like that, right? But it's a clean fast fashion version, right?
Yeah, but I was participating in this panel discussion on Friday, Women and Sustainability. And one woman said something very interesting. She said, you cannot make all the society responsible to be sustainable. You have to change also the industry. And that's what I also think. So we have to democratize sustainability to everyone. You have to democratize also technology to everyone. Yes, and then when we do it, then fast fashion gets sustainable and, yeah, clean fast fashion.
Fashion gets fast and sustainable.
Yeah.
As long as the quality is also
of course, yes.
High on a high level.
Of course,
yes. And so this is a different layer, and I know exactly what Christian was talking about, because this speed factory was built up in the city I was born, in Ansbach, in Mittelfranken. So I know this exactly. And I also it was my question, why is it not there? Why they closed it down, and why technology is not that fast now to be there? And for me, also quality is super, super important. And since then, fast fashion, it's on a quality level. Then it's, as we're talking about recycling, upcycling, and vintage, by vintage, then it has to be high quality. So I think then...
Yes. I have actually one question from our audience from YouTube to you, Xenia. They're asking what tools you are using already in apart fashion.
For what?
Let's have a look.
We're using many tools.
Digital tools, just digital tools.
For digital tools, okay. We're using 3D also for the creating of, should I look at the camera? For the creating, so we are using also the 3D pictures, what we're making very fast without photographing any styles. What are we using else? Yes, I think that's all, so not a lot.
Yeah. And what do you think about sustainability? We talked about sustainability and efficiency. Do you think technology can close this gap also?
Yes, of course. So I think it's in general. So we are not using a lot of tools, but for example, we are trying to digitalize all the processes. So we also have less stock. We analyze with our tools, with our own tools. So maybe I misunderstood the questions, but we have our analyzer systems and our own AI, how we predict the demand. So what we're doing flash collections, we're doing main collections. So we using this algorithm, but it's not like a tools. And if you're closing this gap, for example, in e-commerce, you have fast, you're just getting something and receive in your warehouse and you're directly online. So you can see and predict all the demand, and you can stop if something is wrong. So you try to do it faster to get it away. So this kind of tools, of course, we're using by knowing our own AI.
Yeah.
And maybe I have an idea. I just think about how about to make a certificate for companies that make some sustainable walking processes, so step by step. Maybe this could be for young generations, also interesting. Oh, okay, this is like a product of sustainability. So why? Because it's not only produced by bio or whatever. So this company makes these processes sustainable. So each company have to put on their website, not like trusted shop. We are not killing your money, we return also back, but something like sustainable. This company may have a certificate of sustainability. And maybe also for young designers, because you teach them something in the future, and then they come to the companies, to the older companies, and cannot use maybe what you teach them.
What they educated
because
in.
they just jump into the old world. So maybe some combination of motivating.
Let's be creative and don't ask the data in this point.
No, data is important.
This is not existing at the moment. So I think, it's also a good combination. Always like to have and to get all the ideas together and ideas creating out of processes. And this is something really nice that we as a human sitting here, and also with the experience of Christian already, like we have maybe so many ideas and things to on what we can work on and to change something. I think that's just the most important thing.
Let's do.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm in it.
That's a good end, right? Or I have one last question. I didn't write that down actually and send it to you. It's just coming to my mind creatively. If you would have in Berlin a huge wall, and you would write something down on this wall, what would you write to say to the world? Who should start? Claudia.
I would say stop overconsumption. So just just make a point. But also like to say, have fun with fashion, physical and 3D. So at least with all this huge disruption we see now in fashion and the huge pollution we have there, fashion, it's fun. It should be fun. We should be creative and don't get too depressive on what it has. So let's have the power, the energy to change this.
That's a lot on a wall.
Yes, I need a lot. I thought about I had the wall like the East Side gallery in front of me. And so okay, I start left and go. But it's a lot to say. So, but
great.
I think.
And you?
That would be a basic statement like, don't be too serious. Let's take more risks, because that's, I think, what is needed. Looking from the future backwards on how we sit here and how we talk and what we would explain to our kids, what I've done today. I'm not sure, Christian, when you explain your kids how the panel was, for me it's always the feeling like, what holds us back? Wake up, right? So what holds us back? So take more risks.
Wake up. This is this. I would write, wake up. It's time to wake up now. This would be my step. And now, this is the third word. Wake up now.
Great. Xenia.
Well, I think I would say don't be afraid. And next point is from Mike Tyson, fight now and be the rest of your life the champion.
I love that.
This is also good.
I would maybe write the future is now. Get excited about it. Okay, now I open for questions. We have also a question from the... Julia, are there more questions from the YouTube channel? No more questions. So maybe our audience has some questions. Where's the mic? Yeah, just say it, yeah.
You get a microphone.
Yes, thanks a lot for amazing panel. I have a question, or two questions, one for Oliver, one for Christian. And the first one, you said that the consumer should not buy this black dress or think about not buying this dress, but it goes against like every capitalistic principle, because every company wants to make the consumer buy this dress. So how do you meet it, or how do you what to do with this? This is my first question. And second question, do you see any possibilities for like self-made 3D printed basic garments, for example, in the future? It's maybe more for Christian, because it's available now on industrial scale. Maybe later it's possible to make your basic garments at home. Thank you very much.
Great. Christian, have you gotten the question, Christian?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there, 3D printed garments will not be available, never. So I don't believe in it. Yeah. So homemaking of your garments, why? What might be possible is weaving, on-demand weaving. Yes, but no printing. Printing of garments doesn't. 3D printing doesn't work. So 2D printed, the design, this is standard. And 3D printing doesn't. Yeah, this technology will, to my perspective, will not be made. Where it is interesting 3D printing is in plastic elements, as it is used mainly in shoes, for example, right now. So this is where you will have elements. So think of accessories, any 3D objects. This is where 3D printing definitely will be used.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, and I take the first question about the black dress. So what's behind that? Knowing like all the negative aspects, right? 45% is overproduced. A piece is only worn 7 times. That sounds like that we as humans, sometimes we don't take the right choices when we shop, right? And we discussed a lot about education. So how do we support that change? And how I want to see it, and call me idealistic, but I believe we will get there. Data and transparency and all of that will help the consumers in the end to exactly know what in their wardrobe is, right? I'm not sure if you can, when you close your eyes, if you would know exactly every piece in your wardrobe. I don't. Maybe that's also too much. But I guess the technology will support us here. And when I then when I would go to a shop and want to buy a black dress for my wife, since I just love her and just want to buy her something, then I would be more than happy when an application like gives me an alert. Don't buy that black dress because your wife has already 5 ones, and the one you are going to buy looks exactly like the one she bought last year. Buy a white one. She would be happy with a white one because she doesn't have a white one, right? So that's how I would like to play with it, because I think that it's really a lot about credibility and authenticity as well, right? So how can we educate and how can we support customers? I think it can only happen when we try to understand their needs and when we are really honest about it. And this sometimes should really mean you can say to someone, don't buy that. You won't need it. You won't wear it. It doesn't fit. Buy something else maybe if you like, right? I hope this explains it a little bit, and it's just a very, very easy concept, because I think the technology in the end needs to support us that we are not buying stuff we don't need anymore. This is like an impulse and it's a conception that is there, right? But I think helping the customer to spend their money more wisely on more qualitative products maybe, right? And not on a thing they already have in their wardrobe. For me, that would be a satisfying moment in the future. And I hope that explains a bit this statement of the black dress. Yeah? Okay.
But
well, just one remark. I do not agree at all. So I am the opposite. Right, the opposite. So I would promote this idea of having the black dress, yeah, so that you are able to order this dress custom made, and you don't have to worry about the fit. You knowing that this dress perfectly fits your wife, fits her fabric preferences, how she likes this fabric. And then have it delivered to your door at the point in time when you want it. And this in 2 years' time in Berlin. Might be a pitch.
But now I'm not agree because it's very hard to predict. Everybody needs a black dress, so I think it would be forever. So first thing,
So we agree.
And the second thing, I would be curious if the customized black dress that you select for your wife if she would love it.
Trust me.
Only if it's doing by technology, then it's okay. So we're analyzing all her wardrobe, then we can make a prediction for that.
And I think also like fashion should be also like what we said now. At least it should be like, not at least. I mean, it's the most important thing that it's desirable. So if you love something, you will wear it for a long time, as we said before. And if it's a black dress, and another black dress could be also great. For maybe a different occasion. I think, to think a little bit, and that is speak from my point of a stylist, also like in a private surrounding. If you know what you have in your closet, and then you only buy what fits to it. Exactly. And as I said, if you love something, then you can say, oh, this pants fits to that one, or this one not. So it's like have always your closet in your mind, and then you can put creatively everything together. And
Have we answered the question to the gentleman in the audience?
He looks like Christian. He looks like.
Okay, good.
Yes. Yeah. So he's satisfied, Christian. Thank you so much. Was there another question?
So I'm curious about that piece, knowing your closet by heart. Personally, I'm a big fan of buying timeless, minimalistic pieces and wearing them as long as I can. And sometimes I have to throw things out or donate them because you cannot wear them to the office. They are worn out, but I still love them. And of course, you can rent out, or I don't know, buy like a couple of key pieces, something neon or print, or I don't know, I even exchange with my girlfriends and my sister. So this thinking leads us to capsule collections or owning like a capsule wardrobe, right? That's the definition. So out of curiosity, how many pieces does someone living in Berlin, so extreme cold and extreme heat, need to be as minimalistic as possible? So how many pieces do I need in my closet that I know by heart, and of course that has been created with amazing technology?
Okay, yeah. I will gain some time for you all. So just think about it, Christian. You also, how many pieces do you need? There's a designer from Berlin. He's also part of the Fashion Council, Ashley Markovell, who has created a collection. It's called Often. 10 pieces you wear more often. So he says, for Christian and me, he says, if you have these 10 pieces, then you don't need anything else. Like then this is your basic wardrobe. So there is 10. For men, he said it's 10.
I could also imagine this like 20. I would not say more. What are you saying?
No, if beside the shoes and accessories.
Beside the shoes.
Okay, I think about it. Was like, okay, what should I leave? No, it's like, I mean, you have sitting here in your beautiful colorful summer dress. I totally agree that we need like a kind of an uniform and in life going to business. I would say also 20, or like you can combine with 10 a whole week, I would say, if you buy the right thing.
Yes.
So you can combine it to go out. You have a blazer, you have a jeans, you have a top. So you can combine it with high heels, so going out, or with flats going to your office, or to your work. And then it's also like, that's what I mean. It's just like to find these combinations to highlight your wardrobe. And that's why also through 3D fashion, stylists never out of fashion, so they are really like needed. And also like to you as telling you that maybe like between 10 and 20, I would say.
What are you saying?
Oh, it's a dangerous question for me. No, I have 3 jackets, a coat, I have 2 jeans and 2 blouses. I have this skirt and actually this top. And normally I wear my horse riding pants every day.
That's true.
And for any occasions, I have a big sample room. So I just take something out of that. But for my personal use, nothing. Honestly speaking, nothing. And I have a jacket from Woolrich, very nice one, with down jacket. I wear it in the summer, I wear it in the winter, so I'm fine. Yes.
Christian, would you want to answer?
I'm really impressed that you know all the garments from your wardrobe. Deeply impressed.
I see Christian always in his Adidas jacket.
A good Adidas tracksuit, and you are like on the go.
Hopefully you have a few of them.
Yeah.
Yes. No, come on. Okay, there's one more question.
I'll do this. There's a little weird angle, so I'm gonna...
Take your time.
Perfect. Great. So I'm going to just make comments. No questions for the panel, but it's going to be individually for everyone. First, I'll say thank you. I'm really excited that we have this conversation. It's very important to be talking about it. You know, Christian mentioned the climate report being released a few weeks ago, and I've been staggered at how few people are bringing it up because our planet is disappearing before our eyes. So I just want to say again, it's been an inspirational panel, and this co-creation word that you brought up, Olivier, is beautiful. And so I'll just go one by one. Franzi, thank you. Your company and business, this yoona.ai. Sorry, I have a little tic-tac, so excuse me. I did a little lisp there. Your yoona.ai is, I'm still trying to understand the technology better. I work for Google, and I lead the sustainability and consumer apps for Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And so I'm still trying to understand fundamentally, but it seems very innovative, and I love the model. So I just want to say thank you and being at the forefront of this conversation. I'll then go to Claudia, where I really appreciate the experience you bring to this panel and the perspective. So I really also just want to say just a comment on that and the background you've brought to the conversation. Xenia, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, I really hope that you can also hold on to that creativity and honesty that you bring to every conversation, because that honesty has been great to sit through and be a part of, and it's necessary to move forward with intention. So thank you for that. Olivier, I wrote it down in the beginning. I love this question. Franzi, are you afraid of the future? My answer would have been yes. And I think Christian, maybe you and I are in a little, this pragmatic, similar wavelength, but I love that it was unanimous no. So thank you for your positivity that you've also brought. And then Christian, I agree with you. I would also put that on the wall, and maybe we should wake up now. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Another question. Peter, thank you. You're doing an amazing job.
Hi, thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. And I have like very short question, but maybe you can like answer very honestly. Like, how do you think what is like conscious is? Maybe this is like just the fashion trend. Like, what is your personal think about it? What is your personal thought about like what is like conscious is? Maybe this is just like a fashion trend, the new fashion trend.
Should I start? I mean, consciousness, we're talking about it, and this is the future, that we are all living more conscious. We are working consciousness, so it's not only a trend, it's a must be, in my opinion.
for me, it's also not a trend. So it will be, and it's urgent theme, like to produce conscious and sustainable. So for me, it's fair trade and to produce fair and sustainable. And also this means what Christian also said is like to produce local and sell local. So it's not a trend. It's the moment now, and it will never be go away. So we start, and I think maybe in 5 and hopefully in 10 years we are there where we have to be there.
Me always with money. But I mean, I also don't think it's a trend, just because if that was the question, because it's very effective. So we can save a lot of costs, we can save a lot of time, we can do it professionally if you do it professionally. So now from the beginning, of course, you invest your time in teaching and education and everything. But in the future, it will bring us a lot. We will save a lot of trash, a lot of time, a lot of money by automating it, by learning, by let us helping the AI and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not like trend, sustainability.
I think it had been a trend, but right now it's definitely a goal, and I think companies will be measured by if they are really honest about reaching that goal, and if they reach that goal. So I think it's now like real business, as you say, I guess. So it had been a trend, but it's no trend anymore. It's the absolute goal, cross industry. So everyone will go there, hopefully with a clear mindset.
Yes. And hopefully in 5 years we don't talk about it anymore because it's just normal.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christian?
Sorry,
Christian?
I apologize, but I didn't get the question. Could you repeat it, please? What was the question was?
If consciousness is a trend, or what is that for you?
Bewusstsein?
Yeah.
It's the sustainability.
Okay, so this is, sustainability is definitely a must, definitely. Because we talked about the impact on environment. Yeah, so what we saw on the news a few weeks ago in Germany with floods and burning forests in the US and Canada, this is the beginning of the climate change, and so there's no way around. Should we do? Should we not do? This is definitely a to-do. Yeah, change one of the most polluting industries. Anna, you've mentioned that. Yeah, so fashion is one of the most polluting industries. So this has to be changed. And just a reminder, maybe on the party crasher here, last year we had in Germany people fighting in Aldi about toilet paper. This was on the news. They bashed them because of that. So think of if climate change will increase and this become worse, whoever will then buy fashion if it's about that shelves in supermarkets are empty. So this is then a higher priority. So definitely just this wake up is I'm serious about it. So this has to be done. And it's definitely consciousness on sustainability is the key, is the essence of the transformation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we agree. So
Thank you very much. This is not something like critical or just. I thought sometimes stupid questions brings the brilliant answers. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your answers.
Thanks a lot for this question.
Yeah.
So I think, is there any question? Yeah, Anke.
One more question, Christian.
One more question, and then one more question, and then.
Okay, a very quick one. It's a question for all of you guys. How do you think fashion education, fashion schools should change?
Oui, my.
To help you support your ideas.
I could start, as I know you very well. I came out of the school and I started my business and everything, and I recognized that everything what I learned was not what I needed. So I think this school and education, how designers learn how to work, should definitely change to prepare them for the industry and to change the industry. So I did all learn for myself. I went to the IT department of our university, so I did it for myself. But a lot of students, as we talk today, they are not learning them for themselves. So it has definitely to change to bring out new designers and with new mindset and new knowledge, also of new technologies. To move something and to change the industry and to go to a part fashion and to change and help to change, right?
Yes.
So I also think that the industry and the fashion school should work together and grow together and to implement from the beginning more technology courses. Like it's a little bit like that. Also, some universities are like from another century. So I think it's the need also to change that and to bring it to the future.
Push us more. Send us your students, but not 1, 2, or 3, so they can be together and also have friendship between other, can be tough between other employees, and for special programs, not just sending and say, okay, take a look what they are doing, give a special work or a special project that they have to fulfill through the company. So they have something by their own, should be sustainable, to check the processes, and then I think automatically or psychologically the company would also try to fulfill their needs.
Do you see a difference between clothes and fashion?
Between
education in clothes and fashion, is there a difference for you?
Clothes and fashion?
Yeah. Like Bekleidung and Mode.
Of course.
And
but
fashion schools, I mean, the creative part, should the output be like the people who are going to make trends? Or
the fashion in
technology try to see more about what we really need. That's what you should create new things.
Yes, but they're not so young, so they have to come to our industry now. So if they come to our company, we have already our processes. Yeah. We need to change these processes, so the young generation can help us to change the processes. So this is important. So they have to have the knowledge, maybe higher than we do. Maybe, for example, when I started IT or computer science, I started in my school with the first computer in Moscow, and I was something new. I was the only girl that was doing this. But then I understood how to do it, and I started to create my own programs, and I went and go through all the studies. So, and I bring it to the company also for automation and learning and everything. So I think it's important to give young people assurance that they are cleverer, they're more smarter than we are. It's very important. They don't have to be afraid of us, of professionals. We're not professionals, we're old school. Excuse me if I'm saying that. But we need this new wave, but they have to be tough. And you, as education system, can support them with them, to tell them, to give this assurance. Guys, this is good. This is what you have to teach them. They come to us, and they have to be full of energy to change the processes.
And can be also creative. I mean...
It's right. It's of course,
right. I mean,
if you have one person who has both high creativity and
I
high
take
technology, this is really very strange to find. We have to be like 2 in 1 person.
But technology you can teach, I tell you. It's like chess playing. Technology you can teach. Creativity you can't teach. This is, you are born. So it's very important first to identify creative people that are free in their minds, and then you can teach them technology.
They have to live their creativity. They have to, I mean, normally they're very young when they're coming. They even don't know who they are.
That would be my tip for schools, any school in Germany. In Germany, we know, right? So allow them to explore who they are, and what they stand for, and what they are willing to do, and what they are good at, right? And if Exactly, because if that's the case, you get these masters, right?
I'm so happy it comes back to creativity, like at the end.
Yes, but still, you need to help them to get this creativity in the right direction. Not like I'm the big designer.
So that lady is really happy, Christian, on the answers.
Christian, last answer, and then we meet you all outside. We can talk still because we have some little act still for you. So, Christian, your last answer.
Regarding this question, so here, to me, one of the key development is the area of computer games, gamification. If you look at Clo 3D, which originally stems from computer game industry, using Havoc engine. So this is where a new generation of designers will get their tools from. So this is definitely this 3D from with a gaming perspective will influence your future designers and the education, and this is definitely one element which will become stronger in the future.
Great.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. We with Yuna are trying to make the design process 100% digital. And as we have a fashion week going on, we thought we show you now something what is also part of our tool. It's augmented reality. It's actually for designers to have a look to their designs in augmented reality. And I would like to welcome Peter Kolski, one of the most famous augmented reality designer of the world, he told me. He worked for Adidas. You can tell now more what you all did. He also coded our augmented reality, and he will tell you how that works, why is it good for us, and will show you how it goes.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Franziska. Yeah, thank you very much for the very interesting panel discussion. I learned a lot, and I hope you will like the next process, what we're going to introduce now. I'm Peter Kolski. I'm creative technologist and CEO of Beta Room. And as Franziska already said, we're doing augmented reality. And we did it already with in different areas, in industry, with energy production. We did it in storytelling. We're here in Berlin, so we did an app which shows the Berlin Wall app, the Berlin Wall. So if you want to experience it later, I can recommend it. But also fashion and retail. We did it with Adidas together and also with Tiffany's in New York. Worked together with Google and Apple. And now I'm really happy to go the next step together with you, is combining augmented reality with artificial intelligence. And how this works, I have to explain first like how the Yuna framework works, or which steps you have to go, what the advantage of it is. First step, we talked about data. So we have data, which means like we have photos of fashion designs. They have performance data, which means how well they are sold. And this is what the input is for your framework. It gets analyzed and processed with artificial intelligence. And then you have the tool basically for a designer. So it speeds up and improves the designing process. So a designer can use now this tool to give recommendations. So the AI creates art, basically, or creates a new fashion collection for you. So, and then comes the last step, which is should not be neglected, is the evaluation. And this is like what we talked about, it is the art, the creative part. And there we have like the different parts of it. Like first, we talked a lot about it, it's the sustainability part, which means, yeah, you have some recommendations and you want to evaluate if it's good or if it's bad. Does it help you? Does it make you more creative? Is it what I want? And to do this, you can either make a real cut, like really produce something, but this is of course not sustainable. The other part is it also has to be fast. You don't want to wait a couple of days when you're in the creative process. You want to have it immediate to stay in the flow. And the last part of it is very important for somebody who's creative, is that you have a feeling for it, that you get like the connection to reality. And this is where the gap is closed with augmented reality. So you actually can see it in real life. And yeah, what is augmented reality? I said this word a couple of times already. Everybody might know virtual reality is you put some goggles on and see a different world, but augmented reality means you extend the reality. So you stay in reality and have the position there. But like it sounds all abstract. We actually, what we did is we released now for the Berlin Fashion Week an app, the Yuna virtual showroom app. And we can give you a little walkthrough here, like live with a video. So it's actually an app, so everybody can download it. You can see here, this is now like the collection which is created already with the artificial intelligence from the Yuna app, from the Yuna framework. So you have this, and then you actually start the augmented reality. So you have it with your normal telephone, you position it, and there you see it out of the view of the camera, and you see you have then a real world size figure, and you see the reflections of the garment, so you have all the details there. And what it gives you a little bit more of the feeling that you're walking around. You have the impression that it's there for you. So even when you when you stop it, you have a more intense feeling for it. You can also scale it down, like in case you have a group meeting and or you don't have enough space, you can have a meeting there and share it and show it. Yeah, so this is like a process which is super fast. You have a reality, not relativity. Sorry, a bit of physics, yeah, relativity. Yeah, so I couldn't, of course, like we had now a female-inspired model. This is more like a male fashion-inspired model. Yeah, I can just recommend it to you. Everybody can download it now. Mm-hmm. On your iPhone later, or like you can use it at home. What we explained now is, of course, like the step for the designers. But you can also go another step. Here's the QR code. You can scan it now and try it out at home or in the S-Bahn, for example. On the moon, it works too. Yeah, this is the first step, like saying, okay, we use it now for this creativity process to actually increase sustainability. But you can also go steps farther, saying, okay, we want to have it in retail, or like when you want to see the new collection, which was then created, that you have a look at home already, or try-ons. But for now, we focused on really this design process for the yoona.ai framework. So I'm really happy that this is now the official release for the Berlin Fashion Week.
Cool.
Good one.
Thank you, Peter. Oh, I don't need that. You can take that.
Hast du noch eine Frage? Any questions? No, of course not.
Yeah, thank you. We are working on that a while. Also, it's a part of the whole process. Designing by artificial intelligence, directly clicking to the design, having it in 3D, and directly seeing it in augmented reality. And so this is the 100% digital design process for us. That was a wonderful panel discussion. Thank you, Olli. Thanks, Senja. Thanks, Claudia, for being part. Thanks, Peter, to do this wonderful presentation. I also want to thank you. Petra and Marina, they are not here. That is from Together Partners. Thank you so much for believing in us and for live the same passion as we do. Alexander Görlich, from Humboldt Carré, thank you. Thank you, Katja, also part of our advisory board, sitting here. The She Economy team, because we are streaming also She Economy on the She Economy platform today. Also, thank you to Tobias Feigert of Reframe. And last but not least, thank you, Scott Lipinski, Stefan Brunner from the German Fashion Council. Thank you, and see you soon. Next talk, next Fashion Week. Happy to see you soon. Thank you. Repeat.